Yeah, I was really pleased with the overall performance and the way we kept pressing on when things were going well for us. But that's been the case in games for the first month for us. So the pleasing thing is we were able to continue on this week, which was good. But the review from the Sydney game just highlighted a broad range of fundamental errors, of which we had still a few tonight, but a lot less. Yeah, I did make mention of the fact that people probably think we've had issues with third quarters. I don't see it that way personally. I mean, the reality is, in retrospect, we've had poor third quarters in our opening month, but that's been as a result of some pretty fundamental mistakes. So at half time, we really focused on making sure that our organisation was really good. I was never in any doubt as to our attack at the footy and ability in the contest, but it was more just staying organised and not getting confused like we did last week in the third quarter.
There was fair intent from some players, particularly like Jack's Evil, but in that third quarter they were going to ensure that lapse didn't occur. Yeah,
I thought he was fantastic today. Jack's probably, by his own standards, has been a little bit disappointing in the first 3 weeks in that he considers himself, a great support for Andrew Swallow, and Andrew Swallow copped a couple of really heavy knocks today and fought on manfully, but I thought Jack really stepped his game up this week and he stamped his authority on the game at times, and I thought he was really impressive.
Is that something you mentioned to him during the week, that he needed to do that?
No, I didn't need to. A few little subtle comments, but he knew. They did, and they pride themselves on that, and that they were a bit disappointed in some things last week, so they really steeled themselves for a good contest. And Stephen Martin's has looked really dangerous at Brisbane and through the NAB Cup and early on, and we know what a class act Jonathan Brown is. So if they give those guys supply, they're very hard to stop. And I think Brisbane ended up with 46 inside 50s, but our defence held up really, really well against those guys. So they're unheralded, but they're rated very highly internally.
Not that you ever would have been hitting the panic about the running stretch, but is there an element of relief that comes with just getting the first win of the season, sort of on the board, so to speak?
I suppose to a degree. I mean, I feel bad after every loss, whether it's one in a row or four in a row. So no, we've just had to stay in the moment and stay in the present and not worry too much about those things. I mean, it sounds boring, but the reality is we had to fix up some fundamental areas of the game which were just really killing us. But as I've said in the previous weeks, 80 or 90% has been pretty good, and today 95% was pretty good. So I suppose what gives us confidence is that our best is up there, can compete for periods of games with the top four sides. But I think we played arguably the three premiership favourites in the first month, and we've got the fourth coming up next week. So we continue to get really solid tests put in front of us.
Coaches like to stay a bit detached from the emotion of what's happening on the field. Were you able to do that in the first 19 minutes as Majak sort of thrilled the rest of the crowd?
No, I did probably go up with the rest of the crowd and half our box when he took the first mark. But it was more that I was not concerned. I was just a first game player, and particularly one as hyped as Majak is. The risk is that they go in and they get confused, and the moment gets to them. Majak, in his short time on the ground, didn't put a foot wrong. He positioned himself exactly where we wanted him to. He jumped at the footy. He competed on the ground. And he showed some of the things he can do on a footy field. So that was most pleasing, because the thing is with Madge, if he gets himself into position, he's pretty hard to stop.
How was he, Brett? I was just going to ask you how he was.
I had a chat to him as I was coming off the ground at 3/4 time, and he was fine. He said he felt fine. Wanted to come back on, but he had the red vest on. So and obviously we wouldn't have let him back on. But he appears just as normal. So, but you can't be too careful with these things, and we'll have to make a really considered assessment later in the week. We're not going to know too much in the next few days, I suspect.
He got his opportunity through Robert Tarrant's injury.
Yep.
Presumably Tarrant's kicks come back as unfortunate.
Yep.
Has he done enough though to warrant this spot?
Yeah. Well, based on the short amount of footy he played, you have to say absolutely. But I will say Robbie Tarrant is clearly part of our best 22. So, we're in the situation where and this is what I've been hoping for a long time, and we've been really working hard towards a situation where the pressure's now on the match committee. Up until now, it's been, there hasn't been enough pressure. Now there is, because Aaron Black kicked 5 for North Ballarat, and we think he's going to be a really good player. So we've got pressure for spots now, and guys have got to perform, and good clubs have that problem.
And what about the challenge of next week? Obviously, that's going to match up.
It's clearly important, but for us, it's just another test against a genuinely good side. Watch their game down in Launceston, and they were fantastic again. They've got class on every line, so it's very difficult from a strategic perspective to actually find chinks in their armour, and everyone knows their strengths. So, we're just going to have to be at our very best, and we know that. But we welcome the challenge, as we have the first month. Thanks, guys.